Is one thing, but it's very hard to develop a new business.
I'm trying to see if I can go through here. But I think I should be here because now I have two screens here. So I will just
Okay, so okay, everyone, let's start this.
all right.
Okay, so inshallah, I know everybody's eager for the open forum to mingle and get to know each other.
Yeah.
So inshallah, Mustafa will take another maybe 10, 15 minutes.
50, yeah, 10, 15 minutes.
And then
Quickly run through the slides. Yeah. Okay, so let's get started. So yeah, so Zoom, yes, we are. We are in Zoom. Yeah. If any more people, yeah. Yeah, they're there. Okay, so I can do it. I have multiple screens. So yeah, it was earlier same screen mirroring. Now it's multiple screens. Okay, so the idea is seniors, which means that we need to get into environment. Example, the group we have here, we can create a seniors, like we should be connected with each other, inspire each other, or better, the city consists of a lot of seniors here. There are a lot of groups. If you search around, a lot of groups here. You can go on Meetup, SF, you have some stuff, events, and also you can go to Angel List and connect there as well with similar ideas. So you can connect with people. So the idea is connecting with people who are hustling like you want to. So they're the same. Yeah. I'll just admit a few more people. Yeah. So this is saying, if you're the smartest guy in the room, you're in the wrong room. So try to find people who are more motivated than you, who are more successful, or who have done something. That's where the flow will happen. One second. So now let's say I want to start now. How do I begin and where do I get the ideas? I think I have a good idea. Ideas are like our children. We love them regardless. But the idea is not necessary. Like we should be very decoupled from the idea. The ideas, even the best ideas, didn't come as a flash. They evolve and they mature. So people like example, Airbnb's ideas originally was something else, and they maneuvered around so many times that it finally matured to Airbnb. So we should one thing you should choose is the domain you want to be in. Example, you say you want to be in fintech. Okay, now this is my idea how to revolutionize fintech, but the approach can change. The idea can change because the idea can be far ahead of its time, or it won't work. So it's if it's not going to work, then it will fall on its face, right? So we need to validate the ideas. How can you make the customer connect? That's very good. That's also a very hard skill, or it's a specialized skill. How we make a customer connect. So ideas. One thing we have to do is where are the big problem areas in the world? And like Mustafa, can you tell us how you found your idea?
Originally started off as before that I was doing a different venture. It was a language exchange thing. I had a couple of friends who came here and they were struggling with the language, and it was tough to find a way to practice the language. So what we did was we started off as a Facebook group. Started off in Vancouver, and alhamdulillah, there was how it worked. People, let's say someone comes from Mexico, comes on a temporary policy, practicing English. And there are people who want to learn Spanish, so you would match with these people and you would say, "Hey, I'll teach you my language for your language." And essentially, that's how it started off on Facebook group, and then we realized that this thing could go global and started as groups in different, I would say, different provinces and main cities across Canada as well as in North America. There was still demand, I would say. And we realized there was a potential for making a mobile app platform that could host people globally. And it did go well, but again, one thing I find very hard when it comes to startups is monetizing. You have to always consider how you're going to get into monetization. And it sort of has to be one of the, like, maybe people say build it, but I mean, not everyone becomes Facebook, and it's tough to monetize that. From there, there was also another thing we realized that it's really hard to find halal places or halal food to start with, and very hard to actually find authentic or actually.
So you found the market.
Yeah,
Yeah, but there's a problem. So there's a lot of ways people find problems. For example, what personal skills we have, advantages, insights we have to solve. Just give me 1 second. Let me add up admin people. Yeah. Okay. And how can you turn this into a viable business idea? Now the discussion revolves. Okay, I think halal, food is is a problem right now in the city. What are the ways I can technology? We can say. And what technology is missing? Sometimes a lot of startups happen by, to scale, you add technology to the mix sometimes. Like e-commerce, a lot of e-commerce startups came because, okay, a better platform. And now people are doing AI now, IoT, Internet of Things, and other platforms too. And see how can that be applied to change the game. What can you do to now that can be? So the idea is before you build one mistake is they want to build a revolutionary product like Tesla. You have to build with duct tape kind of thing, very basic. So Tesla or Apple. Yeah. So what is the science fiction version of your product? So what it means is that imagine something basic. A lot of big applications started as in Excel. People build calculators in Excel, how to do the organizing in Excel, and that's where it started. And then they built a mobile app on top of it, and then you have a platform. So a basic science fiction version of it. More admissions. So the thing is to try. If you think one problem of monetization was a problem, try plan A, plan B, plan C. If it's not going to work, try the plan D. We have all the way till Z, and after Z also we can go for. So the thing is, keep trying. Like most of the people have ideas. I've heard so many times from people. 10 years ago, people were like, people say that, oh, video platform, I was going to build it. Somebody else built it, YouTube. So many people will say that. I have come across somebody who says, told me, since last 20 years, I'm working on creating crypto. I said, okay, you have been trying since 20 years. Somebody have already built it. So it's not like the ideas. Ideas are very easy. They're very cheap. What really matters is the execution. So a lot of people are very scared to tell ideas also. So it doesn't matter about that. So now, step one, how to evaluate it. Does it address a functional need? So when you are building something, we have to see, is it solving a real world problem? If, for example, if I'm working on health tech or fintech, is it an idea which I think is good, or is it solving a real genuine problem? And how are you going to know that? It's a way of doing customer discovery focus group that we can find out. Emotional needs. Does it address an emotional need the users have? That also is important. This is often why they'll tell others, unlocking word-to-word viral word. And is there a market? A lot of people are doing businesses which will be good for maybe my area, like maybe Burnaby. So that is a local business. There's a big difference between a business and a startup. What do you think is the difference between a startup and a business? Anybody? Yeah, what?
Starting something that people have started, or maybe starting something new.
Even a business can be something new, right? Business can be something different. Like example, a unique restaurant in the city is new. So one scalability. So more than scalability, even regular business can be scalable too. Business model. It's an unproven business model. This model is evolving fast. So scalability is one where it has a big market. But another big one is business model. You're trying to, like there are a lot of unknowns in the business model. So that's why it's a startup. Otherwise, McDonald's, it'll make you a lot of money if you get a franchise. But that's not a startup, that's a franchise. It's already proved model. It's a very proven model. So they will sell you it because for it's proven. But startup, it's not proven. And we don't know if it'll succeed or not. So that's why, that's why it is a startup. People look for startups which are also scalable. If you are focusing on a startup which is local, it's great. Sometimes people also focus on local startups too, but they are not scalable, and a lot of investors don't go for it because there's not enough market for that, which is okay for some people. But if you want to grow your business, we can focus on the big markets too. So example, fintech problem. If I have it, probably everyone will have it. In a lot of countries, they will have it. So we should try to see the basic fundamental need to solve it. And the goal is that we should see future belongs to those who see the possibilities before they become obvious. So we should try to foresee. Like everyone is doing it. A lot of people are going for ride sharing now, but everyone else is doing it. If you're doing a startup, don't go like the crowd goes somewhere. Like there was a time when everyone was doing e-commerce startups. Someone got successful and everyone wants to follow that. Everyone wants to go to crypto because they see a lot of money is being made there. Then there was a time when everyone was going on ride sharing. Uber did great. And there were like dozens of startups, even in Vancouver, who were doing ride sharing. So then it's very hard because you have a lot of competition. So try to go for something which is not obvious. And have some good UX. Another thing is have a good UX. Is there something novel you can do it? Example of a good UX is like phone is a good UX. Like for everything is being managed by phone. That was good. Some people are doing startups on even Apple Watch or car platforms or IoT. So those things can also be a game changer. So startup steps, let's quickly go through that. So how do you want to do it? Okay, if we have validated it, I will just admit some people.
Maybe like
once we have done the validation, once we have the ideas stuff here.
Mustafa brother, sorry for
the market want, validate it. So as you're building it, make sure what you're building is what people want.
Maybe you can give someone.
Okay, sure. Yeah, so MVP, there are so many kinds of it. It's a whole discussion in itself. So an MVP is the very basic version of the solution you have. If I'm going to go for an electric car, I'm not going to build a Tesla. I'm going to work something very basic, like maybe something which barely runs on electric. Some basic, so just proving the proof of concept kind of thing. And then evolve it. It takes even like a MS Office. It took what is today is like it was not like 10 years ago. So these products iteratively evolve. Every sprint, every sprint evolve. So build an MVP, and there are lots of kinds of MVPs that can be done. Some easy MVPs are video demonstrations. There's no product itself. A lot of founders have got traction just on videos, on screenshots. Those are also considered MVPs at times. They say, my app will look like this. This is my app, which will have the user. This will how I will do this thing and this thing. Is there an app? There is no app. Then after that, you evolve it to the next step, which is a POC. And then you add feature by feature, and eventually you have a product. Yeah.
Just as a MVP, minimum viable product. Yeah,
Sure.
it's the minimum.
Yeah, so let me just give me 1 second. So,
Sorry, how do you find viability in this case? Is it something sellable to
Yes,
the
yeah.
user?
that's a good question. There are two terms which we have to do, two big terms: product market fit and customer discovery. So when we build a product, some people invest a lot of money to build products here, but maybe the product after you built it, it's not going to work. People are not going to buy it. So the thing for a startup is finding the right product market fit. How do we do that? By interacting with focus groups, by having a strong connection. Like maybe you're selling a basic version of it. Like Bera, can you tell us how you are doing it? Your startup, like, how are you interacting with your customers? Maybe you can share some idea.
Long story, it's a question by itself.
But you can quickly share.
Basically, there's a project that long time ago, I tried to for it myself. And then I started selling it over Amazon. I just input the ads in and I sell it over Amazon. And then through interaction with customers,
Yeah.
feedback, I decided that I wanted to get my own project based on the from scratch.
Right. So Bera, for Bera startup, like he was already selling the product, and then the feedback from customers said, "Can you have this feature on there?" And with the request, he started saying, "Okay, that validated it." That was a good validation because customers are buying and are requesting those features. So that's a good validation. And there are a number of ways we do validation. One is focus group, asking questions, interviewing, surveys. There's a lot of surveys that people do. Okay.
So just a quick question. So for focus group, do you need to, can you do it yourself or you have to get someone shared out?
Exactly. So one thing is when you do focus group, never do yourself, your friends and family. They will say yes to everything you do. They love you. So it has to be unbiased. Like my idea, I will love it so much. My crypto will be the best. It'll get beyond Bitcoin. I can say that because I love it. The Bitcoin will be blown away with my blog. I've seen people talk about that. Oh wow, that's we can say that. Or maybe you're my friend. You'll say, okay, yes. Maybe you'll forget it, but it won't happen. So it's good to go which is unbiased. Focus group should not be like someone who is biased towards you. Like family will definitely agree with you, or friends will do that. So we need to go outside with in the field. Sometimes they do. It's a whole subject in itself, but in short, it's not friends and family. And yours.
And best is to have it like a representative sample of your customers, right?
If you have that, a lot of times it's hard. But I was lucky; he was already selling it, so he could talk to his customers. But certain times when you're building a new product, it's hard. But you can also go for focus interviews, where you can find a fit in there. Sure. And also I'll turn the microphone on here. If anybody have any questions online, they can also ask. So product market fit is big one. So we should not forget that. Build a team. This is one of the hard parts. Like a lot of good startups have fallen off because of the team. So find a team. There are a number of ways you can find teams here, which is the session in itself. There are, I know, meetups happening where you can join meetups. There are meetups where you are going to mingle with people to find people. It's not easy because the hardest thing to deal is people in this world, is people's emotions, people. And some people will, so it's very hard for people to deal with people, right? My ideas, you don't listen to any of my ideas is a common thing. In hackathons, when you do hackathons, it's the common thing. People really sometimes cry, like, all my ideas are shot down. Or some people who talk a lot can overtake everybody else's ideas, right? So dealing with people is one of the hardest thing. And if you are able to find some good team, sometimes it's good to have a team because even investors don't invest in single founder startups. What if you say no to it, right? So if it's good to have at least 2 or 3 startups, maybe Abdul Rahman can tell about that. And then get the funding you need to grow. So that's also another thing is how do we fund it? We'll talk about funding in the later slides. Develop the practice of develop and practice agile methodology. Agile methodology means that evolve the product step by step. Right now, we cannot build the whole product in a day. Maybe one small thing now, one small thing at a time, one feature at a time, build it and add it in your product. And then generate the funding and scale the team. So you need to, it's not good that you shut down your startup because lack of funds. Because there's a certain runway to plan it properly. So and it might be a really good startup, but if you don't plan your funding right, it can still close. So startup process, 7 steps here. Ideation, we should find a good right idea with the right product market fit. Build a prototype. Started lean. There's a terminology called lean startup, where you don't want to get $1 million or a team of 20 people to work on it initially. Most of the startups start with 1 or 2 founders. One idea there, they have vetted the idea, and then they build the MVP, and then took it the next step. It's easy. It's good if you have the tech skills. You don't need to hire the tech people then. Like usually there are startups where tech founders do it. That's a superpower. For me, my tech skills were very useful because I was in demand then, because everybody who are doing a startup would ask me to help them. So this skill will be useful. Like if you can do some tech, great. But there's equal importance of marketing, human resources, funding, everything else too. So build a basic prototype which you can ideate and validate. MVP. Once you have an MVP, the basic duct tape one, find a product market fit. Email marketing, social media marketing. Tell people this is a solution of your problem. Can you what's your feedback? So constantly keep asking for feedback. Then scaling and then potential profitability. A lot of times, even 10 years after the startup, people don't make money. Like Twitter started making money recently. For over a decade, it didn't make any money, but they had a huge valuation. WhatsApp, I don't even know if it makes, maybe till its acquisition, it never made any money. And it sold for 16 billion. It made $0. And they had no clue how they are going to make any money at all on WhatsApp, because they didn't have any ad revenue, or they didn't have plan for ad revenue. But what they had was a lot of traction. A lot of people were using it and very continuously using it.
Number of the
Users is currency in there. Users is currency, absolutely. Right? Yeah. And then because it was the very preferred platform for communication, a small team, it didn't even have around 50 people back then. 50 people team sold for 16 billion back in the day. 16 billion is a huge amount. And then potential profitability and then cash. So here it's pre-seed. This is pre-seed. You can basically build it with very little, friends and family is where you look for here. And this is seed capital, is when you are when you have a MVP, when you have a demonstrable MVP or basic POC, then investors we can pitch it to investors and they say, okay, I want to build a product and I would need so much money. And the investors will see the viability. They see how much of work you have done and how much invested you are in this. Maybe Abdul Rahman can talk about a lot in this one. He does this every day.
So we're gonna have hard stop at
8. Okay. Yeah. And what are the key skills for a startup that we would need? Let's quickly talk about that. So, one of the things is sales experience. You need to sell. You need to keep selling. Everybody, where you go, elevator pitch. Tell your startup in a minute, or better, in a sentence. If it's more than a sentence, it's complicated. You don't understand your startup. So a lot of times when you tell people, can you explain to me your startup? They'll say, sit down here. I need 10 minutes of your time. I can explain you how my startup, which means they don't have a good understanding themselves. So if you cannot explain your startup in a sentence or two, then it's too complicated, or you have no good understanding. So the skills what we need are like the skills which can help you are sales skills, like if you can sell your product to people. Growth skills, data skills are how you read information, and analytics, statistics. Technical skills, if you can jump on there, do the coding, great, because the startup is changing very fast. How fast you change determines your success. If I built a year ago and if I'm not changing it, that's not a startup. That's it's expected to change because it's evolving.
It's out of date.
It's already dead. It's a dinosaur. And ability to wear multiple hats. Okay, today you're doing digital marketing. Tomorrow you might be pitching to investors, building a product, something else, cleaning the office. Ability to listen. Listen to whom? Listen to everybody. Your team. If you're building a team initially, you need superstars. People who believe in you. You should have the ability to convince people. You should have the ability to talk to investors. You should have the ability to talk to customers. There's so many people you need to talk. Actually, better listen to them than talk to them. Yeah. And what are the useful technical skills? I know we are all coming, a lot of us come from technical background. What technical skills are going to be useful for us? Website. As the idea evolves, the websites change on a daily basis. Excel is very important, actually. Although it's such an outdated, they say it's an outdated. There's so many good programs out there, but nothing can beat Excel still. Excel or spreadsheet. Data collection and analytics. It's all there. When you start your day, you start with Google Analytics, other metrics for startups, email metrics, and those are key skills where you can measure and evaluate it. Coding definitely helps. Front-end development skills. WordPress is how you do your website. SEO for marketing. Okay, now let's talk about Vancouver. Like we are here in Vancouver, and what's the scene here like? They say Vancouver Canada is known to be one of the best places for startup for some reasons here. Not because we have a lot of manpower. We have a very scarce manpower here. We have very few tech people in this ecosystem. Other countries, other places have a lot of tech ecosystem. But we are good because we have got a lot of grants and grants which are or help with the subsidies that we can get here. Like SRED is one good one. Like if you're doing innovation, you get a lot of credit back, a lot of money as tax credits back in there. I remember when we were helping startups here, like a lot of startups had no money to pay us when we're helping startups. And we would say, don't pay us money. We'll help you get these grants and you pay us through that. And we're successfully being paid by getting the grants like IRAP and SHRED for startups, and they would pay us with that. So we have a lot of grants available, and also BC tax credit. If anyone's investing, they get 30% back, right? So tax credit, and there's a list of them. When I see there's a whole Excel file, it can be filled up with that. So a lot of these are grants and credits, which is not even investment. We are not even going the pitching route right now. Before that, get all the help you can get from the ecosystem. There is a lot of ways you can get free office space, like accelerators space. You can get that and also start up on that. IRAP is good, SHRED is good. MyTax is another one where you can get a lot of help. Vancouver Economic Commission is also a very good, strong organization. BC Tech Discovery Parks, they give you a space for a year. And if you have also got programs, example, they give you their students to work for you. They have grants where they can you get the students of BCIT. BCIT have a program where their projects, like for their graduation project. I think you can talk more about that. Yeah, so we can get the students for projects, right?
One semester or 2 semesters, sponsored by somebody from campus.
Right.
A supervisor from a university and the industry.
Yeah. And
the students can work on a certain idea that's proposed by campus.
Right. So I think they just only charge $500 for that, and then you have a group of students who are working for you. for that specific semester program. Yeah, we'll share this one. Yeah. Now let's discuss, how do we let's discuss ideas how we can, make this group a seamless, how we can collaborate with each other. Like all of us have something to offer. Let's see what we can offer to each other, because some of us will come with ideas. Some of us need some specific skills. Some of us need funding. Some of us needs marketing, coding, tech support, university support. So let us, make a group where we can discuss how we can make this a richer environment. Like, if you see other groups here, other communities, they are good because they have, they help each other in, like example, look at the Ismaili community. They are strong because they help each other. When I have been to their meetings, they talk about the solutions, how they can help each other business here. My, like example, startups, like how they can scale the startups, they already caught onto it. So let's make in our community where we can talk more, growth, success in business, also a part of our conversation. Yeah. And I think, yeah, that's the last one. And then, yeah, then we can share, we can share us what. Yeah.
Everybody share your ideas in the group.
Yeah.
And let's talk. Inshallah.
Yeah, and like with Abdul Rahman, like we were planning to build an incubator. Actually, we are planning, thinking how we can build one where we can get potential startups. Like he's an investor, he's a Vantech investor, so he's the guy who will invest in startups, and he's been investing since a while now. Like how long have you been doing this?
5, 6 years.
A long time. For 5, 6 years, a long time.
I started the incubator a while ago.
Yeah.
Hopefully now.
Yeah. So if you have a good idea, if all we need is come up with a good idea, a good vision and mission, that's what we need. And then people will follow you. People will follow you on that and have the execution. Welcome. So I think we can start with the, I think it's done now. Thank you, thank you.
Sorry to rush you through it, but it's very good. Could you find people to ask questions and then to have open?
Oh yeah, so
We can start.
sure. Yeah. So do you have any questions online? I can also answer.
Can we do a monthly, like a mastermind where all the brothers get together and
Yeah.
brainstorm?
That's a good idea. We have the numbers, we have the skills. What I see here is all of us are so skillful, so much successful. Like I said, wow, like, this will take a lifetime for me to, I want to be close to that. So, and we can absorb each other's power. Like, when I see people, what I see is what power can I absorb from them? Because all of us have something special to offer. So we should share each of us, our power to each other. Like example, I can learn something from each of you, or you can learn a few things from me probably. So we should share, a mastermind where we can maybe have a weekly online thing, maybe like where we can learn things here. Yeah. So I was talking to Abdul Rahman, like how we can have a week, like we have developed a curriculum from Y Combinator and FI, where we can talk about the startup steps here. How can we build an MVP? How can we do a product market fit? So these things are very in-depth. We don't know, we have no clue maybe. So we can learn to do that, or some people can take up that task, or someone say, I want to do a startup. I want to have, I'm looking for people who can join my startup. That's a good ask too. So we can do that.
So just to add to what Mr. was saying, I think that's the other thing that I was asking. I mean, feel free feel free to send a message to the group and have a specialized email or weekly email in addition to this. So it's an open forum.
Yeah, let's take initiatives. What we need is people who take initiatives, right? Let's be the leaders and take initiatives. The more initiatives we in our community, we need initiatives, lots of them, lots and lots of them. So let's all of us do that and find and look for support. I'm sure a lot of us are capable of joining and supporting. So let's take initiatives or support initiatives too. Any questions? Any more questions?
I have a question. So to start with, thank you so much for this presentation. The question I'm going to ask might contradict with the definition you mentioned about the startup versus business. But I was wondering if we have, in addition to the bodies you mentioned, do we have here in DC in specific, or in Canada in general nowadays? Because I know it was there before 20 years ago. So, a body, whether it's a government body or even a third-party independent body that gives you a feasibility studies of the potential projects. Yes, maybe you don't have that innovative ideas, but you just want to follow something based on a feasibility study to monetize the work. Do we have something like this nowadays?
So actually, there are lots. Like a lot of these accelerators and incubators, they will give you feedback. Even investors, they usually, when you go to any investor with your pitch deck, then they will give you feedback saying your idea is good or bad, but if you can, they'll give you the feedback, which is.
But Mustafa, suppose that I run out of ideas and I'm just looking for like available pool of ideas by the government or maybe incubators.
I mean, you mean like somebody to supply you with
Somebody to supply with a potential project, not as a VC, you know what I mean, but rather coming and saying.
Probably like what Mazir was saying, it's like more of like a brainstorming group, kind of, you sit with others, talk. That would.
I think some incubators, they can't give you the area.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you what's hot. What's good, what's coming, what's up and coming.
Yeah, or what they need.
Yeah.
And then you come up with the idea around what they need. And just like that.
Usually, most of the successful ideas, they come from something like somebody having some certain theme or something like that, somebody who's in the industry, like I always repeat this one actually it's an amazing idea. I didn't invest in it directly myself, but the idea was actually somebody just before the pandemic. The guy, he pitched the idea as like to the Angel Forum, and his idea was we created a sensor to monitor wine birds. He's like, okay, well, in the wine industry, we do the grade, we put it in a barrel, hundreds of thousands of them, huge warehouse, and it sits, and we have to test it once a month, right? So he invented some sensor that goes right in there, and just by like as an investor, you think about it like this is a definitely money maker, eliminating labor, improving quality, doing all that kind of stuff. So that was like one of the wow, this is a good idea. So somebody from within the industry, they know what is. They're very successful right now. I mean, we still like not. I don't invest in them directly, but I'm part of the group that is the research.
If I may, I know some of you are eager to. If you have any more questions, you ask Mustafa Abdulrahman directly, and then we can open the floor. Okay, but before we do that, I invite you to please sign up for next session, give a presentation. Mustafa is for keeping things off. We're looking for volunteers for future sessions, so please let me know. I think Ahmed would be a good, inshallah, good. Give us some.
It doesn't have to be like
anything.
Like anything.
I have something on this.
So technology.
And anybody else, please let me know, and then we'll sign you up, inshallah. So with that, once
Sure.
again, Mustafa.
Yeah, I'll share the slides. I'll share the slides too. Yeah, perfect. Yeah.
Jazakallah khair, and really we appreciate
Thank
your
you.
time,
Thank you.
your sharing information, sharing the ideas. Jazakallah khair.
What happens is you either have the problem yourself or